Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mega Cares right here on Mega 97.1. My name is Tony Gonzalez. You know, every single week we have somebody in the community that is doing something great or has done something great, currently involved with something, and all those kind of fall into the same area with the guy in front of me. And I've known him a long time. In fact, I was thinking about it this morning. It's been about 20 years that we've known each other. We first had the occasion to meet each other. Some of those that meet us and know us and maybe meet us separately would not even realize we were friends because of how horrible we speak of each other, but we do it with love. So many stories that I could share with you, but it's an honor to actually have him sitting in the chair today and going to share a little bit about all the things that he does. So, Ed Carcarey, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Tony. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How do you feel sitting there across from me and excited to talk a little bit about you?
Well, I think what the best way we can explain our relationship would be the movie Twins. I'm Arnold and you're Danny.
I'm Arnold.
No.
Arnold,
if anybody ever looked at you, they'd know you're not Arnold. You're the movie.
Did you see when Arnold got pregnant and how big his belly got? I'm Arnold.
No, that's not the movie Twins. Twins was when he was partnered with Danny DeVito, and they were actually brothers, and they described Danny as the leftover. So you are the leftover.
No, my friend. And I can't tell you how many times I've run into people, and they not know our relationship, and I'll say something extremely unnice about you, and they look at me with this thought of, oh my gosh, with friends like this, you know, okay, who needs enemies? So, well, in the beginning, I talked a little about how most of the people we have on here usually have things going on or they've been involved in the past. Here are some of the things that Ed Carcarey is kind of known for. Obviously, he sells radio. That the end result is him. But when you get to know him, you know he's a family man. He's definitely, lives by God's word and definitely believes in that and walks that path. He also gets involved with the community so much that when he was fed up with the middle of downtown and the crud that was going on here, instead of throwing a fit, he decided to change things and start a festival down there, which has become huge, and that's Downtown Friday. So we're going to talk about that as well. How do you find time to do all this stuff? You get up every day at what time?
I guess about 4:30, give or take.
That's ridiculous. So you're going to bed at 5? That's ridiculous. 4:30 in the morning.
My wife would say I'm headed to bed at 5, but I probably go to bed about 9:30 every night, which is plenty of sleep. Then that gives you 7+ hours.
You get up, you work out right off, or you walk or do something, if I remember correctly.
I know. I changed that now. I do my workouts after work, but I do stretching in the morning and take a cold shower. Cold shower is a trick of getting up early. You take a cold shower, boy, you're ready to run.
Now, for those who don't know, Ed spent some time in the military. Please tell everybody about your service that you did for our country.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Yes.
Got out in 89, spent 8 years with the Air Force as a cop.
Is that why you like the cold showers?
I actually just started doing that a year ago, and it was based on the mentors who I subscribed to, like the Darren Dailies of the world. And I started really seeing, even Tony Robbins, I see a lot that he writes about how he does hot and cold. And it's just to shock your system. It's to get you uncomfortable, learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable, starting your day with a small victory, overcoming your feelings and what your body wants and doing something against what you feel comfortable doing. And it's just such a great jump start in the morning.
That is insane. So, and we're talking like a 5-minute shower, nothing, you're not in there for
a long
amount of time.
When it's a cold shower, you're running. You don't play games in there.
Well, Rose has got to be happy. You don't use all the hot water, so.
And we're saving a lot on the water and the heating bill. So, yeah, it's worked out well.
So by that time, you get up and really, I think if I remember correctly, your part of your morning is really motivation too, whether it's Bible passages or whatever you're doing, that becomes a part of your morning as well, just like breakfast.
Yes, I like to, I get to work really early, and then I sit out in my car, and I actually will read some blogs and listen to some podcasts based on, again, some of the mentors, some of the people I like to subscribe to. It's kind of like my cold shower. I'm getting prepared and ready for my day. Everything I've done in the morning since waking up is getting prepared to come into work so that I'm efficient at work and that I'm motivated at work and not dragging my rear end, leaving butt marks, and whining and complaining about the job. This gets my head ready for the day because there's too much to get done.
Right.
And I can't afford to waste time sitting around the office or the water cooler complaining with everybody.
Now, we're looking at a finished product. So let's go maybe years back before you were this polished and this dedicated and everything. you weren't always like this, were you?
Oh, good Lord, no. Good Lord. My career started at this group 30 years ago out of the military, and I might have been the single worst employee you've ever seen. Actually, I would have fired me within 2 weeks because I was that bad. Oh, I was horrible. I lied to my boss every single day. I made excuses why I couldn't be in on time.
Sure.
And it was because I was tired and I didn't have energy. I didn't like doing what I was doing, and I had zero results. I wasn't making any money, which were all my fault. But at the time, I blamed my boss, the owner, the economy, the city of Santa Maria, and anyone else.
You.
Yeah, it was everybody else's fault. It wasn't mine. That lasted for 18 months, and then I met a gentleman named Gregorio who came in as a trainer, a consultant, and he hung around for 6 months to train our group on how to become better salespeople. And I was forced to spend time with him every single day. And Gregorio had something I did not. He had passion. He knew why he was here on this earth. I had no idea why. For me, it was just a job. I did it because I needed a paycheck, but I had nothing invested in it whatsoever. But Gregorio loved doing what he was doing, and it showed up in everything he did.
Right.
The way he carried himself, what he said, what he did. And at some point in that 6 months, and I don't know when it happened, I changed because I caught what he had. And that's what passion is. It's something we catch. It's not something that's taught. So we couldn't sit here and tell people how to do it. You got to get around somebody who's got a fire on the inside of them. And eventually your wet wood catches fire. And that's what happened with me. And one of those results is, and this wasn't necessarily just military, because at the time I couldn't get out of bed. I kept hitting my alarm because I didn't want to do. When you're unmotivated and you can't get out of bed, it's usually a sign of not just lack of sleep. It's a sign of you're not motivated for what you're going to do.
Right.
And a lot of people, according to Gallup, 70% don't want to come to work every day. So I was hitting my alarm clock, the snooze button. I didn't want to get up.
Right.
That changed, and since that day, that's been 30 years now, I have never used an alarm clock. I wake up at 4:30 every day because I wake up and I'm ready to go. I want to get out of bed. Yes.
You've already got it planned probably the day before, the week before.
Right, and I have energy now. I'm getting up and I'm running. Where before it would take me so long to get out of bed. That's why I was always late and always calling and lying to my boss saying, "Oh, I'm at an appointment in Lompoc. Can't make it in yet."
The traffic in Santa Maria.
I know.
Wow, it's amazing how it becomes the 405 when you've slept in.
You can be pretty creative when you're making excuses. But all that changed. And that was
Did Rose see that in you? Was that how was that at home? I know for me, through the years with my wife, we've had the ins and outs of just marriage anyways. Did that help your life at home as well?
Oh my gosh, yeah, because it changes everything. It changes your physical life, your mental life, your relationships, your finances, every spoke in your wheel, it will change. So not only was Rose seeing things differently, and it changed our relationship because now I'm happy. I've got something I'm excited about, which generates energy within every relationship.
Right.
But all of a sudden, the clients who were telling me no every single day were just telling me now yes. And I was selling the same product. Nothing else had changed on the outside. Something had changed on the inside. And it was Gregorio's fault. He did it.
So this spark kind of lights inside of you and really turns into an extreme forest fire within your body, and it just takes over. With this, you see success, but along the way, you've had success almost crumble upon you as well. You went out and you became this huge entrepreneur. Your businesses were doing well, even though you didn't really know some of the businesses you were doing. You got involved in them. I think you had Meineke. You had a pizza place at one time. Was there something else? I think
Smog shop.
Smog shop.
A coffee shop.
Yeah, and some think, hey, well, I'm doing successful. I'm just going to keep riding that wave. What happened to you, and what was missing in that formula?
One, learning curve, the biggest thing. I was the problem. The last business we bought was the restaurant. It was a little pasta place, a fast food Italian restaurant. And within 3 years, we had to shut it down, and we lost almost $1 million. We lost each of our businesses. And once we were able to kind of analyze what happened after I got out of my funk, because I went about 9 months afterwards where I was pretty depressed, and I really had a hard time. Because we lost our home that our boys were born in. We were kicked out of it. Not just lost it, we were kicked out of that.
That's a big difference,
Yeah,
yes.
Huge. The bank took everything, and they had a right to because we owed so much money. Right. Basically, there was a couple of things, and it was absolutely my fault. And one of them was I didn't create internal systems for my businesses. As an absentee owner, whether you're owning there physically or absentee, you need internal systems,
Right.
but more so if you're not there.
Yeah.
I had zero. I hired people and I treated them the way I like to be treated at work.
Sure.
Just tell me what to do and then leave me alone.
Right.
That doesn't work well.
Right.
McDonald's has the greatest systems in the world internally, and that's why a 15-year-old can run a $1 million operation because they tell you exactly how long to cook the fries, to the gram, how much salt you should put in,
Right.
where to pull them out, how long they sit. Everything is told to you how to do it. I had none of that. So there was no consistency. One day a meal would be this way. You come in and order the same thing, lasagna, the next day, and it would be a different shape, color, size, and weight because I had different chefs. There was nothing written down. It was just everybody was doing it off the cuff,
Right.
and that killed us. And it because of that, it was my challenge. Those businesses failed. So I didn't learn. I wasn't in that learning process. My ego was growing, but nothing else was growing.
Sure.
Because we had success initially. I thought I was bulletproof, and I thought I could do anything.
Sure.
I could walk
a
on
lot
water.
of people fall into that trap, though. You're not alone. I mean, rap stars to sports stars to business people, we all fall into that trap.
Oh, there's no doubt. And because success teaches you nothing. That's the challenge with it.
Right. It's the failure that teaches you something.
Failure teaches you everything if you'll learn it. But
Right.
success is really dangerous if you're not grounded and you don't have people around you, a team around you who is going to not be yes men and women, who are going to tell you what you need to hear. Basically, they have to be there to protect you from you.
Yes.
Because we are our own greatest enemy.
Right.
So I got into that place where I got really arrogant. I thought I was the reason for the success. And then we failed so miserably. And then we had to start changing things. And it took us 10 years to build out of that debt, to start over
And that
again.
says a lot for the people in your life that stuck with you, the marriage that you have. It made everything stronger, I'm sure. Through that, you've also been a huge proponent of mentors. And those mentors, I love when you talk to groups about the mentorship program that you believe in, because everybody wants to have a mentor that just says, hey, you're doing great. I love the way you look. Keep it up, pal. But you want the mentors that are, number one, are not your friends, because you need somebody that's going to be brutally honest with you, and different mentors in different parts of your life. So talk to us a little bit about that.
I think the biggest mistake we make in mentors is twofold. One, we choose family or friends. And family or friends can never be a mentor, no matter how successful they are and how much you want to emulate their success, because they have a relationship and they care too much about your feelings.
Right.
A true mentor cares nothing about your feelings. They only care about your future. And they'll see you where you need to be, not where you're at. So as an example, when my restaurant failed, when I decided to come in and close the doors, I had everyone who was around me, because they were close to me, they patted me on the back and they said things like, Ed, you tried hard. You risked, you at least took a chance, you'll get it next time. And they said all these nice things. And I'll tell you, honestly, Tony, it felt good.
Right.
But I didn't learn anything from that.
They were almost enablers.
Exactly. And I don't want to put that down, because they cared about my feelings. That's
Sure.
why they're my friends.
Sure.
Now, when I went to my one mentor, my financial mentor, I didn't want to go see him, but I finally did. And I took him all our paperwork from Pasta Express and I laid it in front of him, and he looked at it. Took him a while. And the first words he said to me when he looked up was, he said, Ed, you're an idiot.
Oh.
That's how he started the conversation. Now, that's a mentor.
Oh, gosh.
And then what followed is he gave me 3 things that I did wrong. Now, those 3 things have been governing tactics and strategies we now use in our future businesses, because they were blind spots in my life. But he taught me something I didn't know about myself. He said, 1, you never as a business owner should own anything over 12 to 18 months unless you set a team in place, because you are a train wreck after that. You get bored with it, you want a new toy. You do really well with distressed businesses,
Yes.
but once they start operating, you got to get out or get someone in front of you to
Right.
protect you from the business and vice versa. He taught me things like that about myself I didn't know, but he had to hit me hard. He didn't say, Ed, you did a good job. Ed, you worked really hard.
Right.
Ed, you tried. Ed, you did something in a business that has the highest failure rate in the world, so don't worry about it. He never said any of those things to me.
Right.
Still to this day has not.
Right.
He said, Ed, you're an idiot. And if you would have come to me 6 months earlier than today, I would have saved your business, your home, and your other businesses.
Wow.
You wouldn't have gone through this. You failed because you're an idiot.
Wow.
Because you did things wrong. You got arrogant.
Yeah.
You threw good money after bad money. You didn't make any changes. You thought you were the answer, and you are not. You didn't have internal systems in place. You hired a friend to run things for you instead of hiring a true business. He goes, I could have helped you with this process if you would have come to me sooner, but you didn't because you're afraid.
It was another cold shower for you.
Oh my gosh. Now, I would love to tell you that I took his lesson immediately. I didn't. I was angry.
Oh, yeah,
when
and
he
I'm
told
sure
me.
felt hurt. Like,
Oh
how
my gosh,
dare he?
yeah.
How dare he talk? Does he not know what I did?
Right. He kicked me right in the teeth, and it took me a couple of days to really think it through and to come with the grips that he was right. It wasn't my employees' fault. It wasn't the city's fault. It wasn't anybody. I messed up. And until I accepted that, I didn't learn anything from it. And that's why after that, now I want to have a team of men and women in my life who will not accept what I say, will question the things that I say.
Sure.
And don't care about my feelings. And that's hard.
Right.
Because nobody wants to have those people in your life.
Right.
We all want the people, the cheerleaders, who are going to say, oh my gosh, you're doing great, and pat you on the hiney. But we get enough of that.
Yeah.
We have enough already of that in our life. We need people who intimidate us,
Yes.
who are better than us, who have a whole lot more that we go to. And when we're talking to them, we're shaking a little bit.
Yeah.
That's who you have to find as a mentor.
I had gone through businesses as well, and Ed's been there with me along the way as a friend. And one time I had Steve Ridge, and I remember being so frustrated and coming to you and complaining to you and going, you wouldn't believe this guy. He challenged me. We're yelling at each other, Ed. I don't think this is great. And you sat there and said, I think he's the best thing for you. And it was true. He was just having me. He was pulling. It's a painful process, but they're pulling something out of you that's already inside of you and then showing it to you and saying, look, learn from this. This is going to make you better. So that's just amazing. Okay, so you go through life. You're learning things. You're being a success. Most would just stop right there. But I know that the way that you are, the way that you believe, not only is it good for the community to do well for your business, but you just became frustrated and you decided to do a little something. Tell us a little bit about how Downtown Fridays came about.
Well, it actually goes back to the mentor that called me an idiot. The three things, I've talked about two of them, he said, which was internal systems that I had to have, and I've got to get better mentors around me. I got to get better people around me. But the third thing he said, which was kind of surprising, he said, you make the same mistake most business owners, politicians, and pastors make, which is you only have one vision. You think that you need to build your business, and that's why you're here. He says, you're not here for that. That's part of it. You have to also build your city. You have to have two visions that work hand in hand together. So you need to have the same amount of passion, excitement, and resources that you're putting into your business. You need to also grow your community because those two are connected, your business and community. So if your community's not growing and you grow your business, at some point, you're not going to have a foundation to build any further in your business because your community's not growing. Right. He says, and you're responsible for that, not the mayor, not the city council or the fire chief or police chief. You are responsible for that. That's another hard one to accept.
It is. But, especially, I mean, knowing you, and I think, again, we were young, but your whole time, you've never strayed from who you are, your beliefs, or sharing that with anybody around you. It's become polished now to where you know the appropriate times, whereas before I think it was, in your face, here, this is the way America should be, and this is the way it's going to be according to Ed Carcarey, to now to realizing, hey, you have to do other things to get the ball kind of moving.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so with Downtown Fridays, you said something has to happen downtown.
Well, actually, yes, I've been a complainer of the downtown for many years, ever since we had Meineke, which was on the north end of town, and we were part of the association for the Downtown Association for so many years, and we complained about it. But that's all we did. Unfortunately, that's all we did.
That's what most people do.
Yeah, we had a nice little committee, and we'd sit around once a month and have lunch and bring in guest speakers, and we'd whine about how nothing is getting done. Right. But it was never our fault that was getting done. We blamed
somebody
everyone else.
Needs to do something.
Yes, somebody needs to step up. And then about 4 years ago, Sophia Laris, who's partner here at the station in Downtown Fridays, it was her idea. She came to me and said, look, do you think the chamber or the city would like to do and help us support an event every Friday night in the downtown? And she was talking to Fallows parking lot. And at the time, I poo-pooed it. And I pooh-pooed it because I know where the city's at financially.
Sure.
And like most cities in California.
If I remember at the time, there was an extreme amount of shootings and stabbings happening at that time.
There was.
Around that area.
Yes. MS-13, which we found out later, was trying to occupy the area. And there's a lot of things going on at the time also.
Right.
So we just sat on it. And it was about 4 months later, Peter, who was one of the city managers, he was doing a talk at a downtown association meeting that I was at, and he said the downtown specific plan is changing. We've shrunk it from 200 and some odd pages down to under 100. It's now we want to do is it's a three-prong approach, and then the tip of the spear, the number one thing is we need to have events in the downtown to drive traffic to help change the perception of the downtown. So as soon as he was done talking, I ran to him. I said, "Oh my gosh, Peter, my name is Ed." I introduced myself. I said, "My partner at the station has an idea. We want to do an event in the downtown every Friday night, seasonally." And this guy was so excited. He's like, "That's our vision. We want to do that."
Wow.
And 6 months later, we started our first Downtown Fridays. 6 months.
Right.
Launching this thing, which
a lot of
usually you
planning
need a year
have to do,
or two.
Sure.
But the city was unbelievable how much help they gave us, how excited they were about it. And they just rolled out the red carpet for this thing to pull it off. And if you remember our first Downtown Fridays, the city asked us, because we've put on so many events now, they said, "How many people can we expect the first year to come out?" And I said, "Look, if we ever get to the point where 1,500 people come out to an event like this, that's huge for the first year." Our first night, between 8,000 and 10,000 people showed up.
That's crazy.
Which blew us away, shut down Main Street, and even 101 to try to get off on Main Street.
Wow.
But it told us that Santa Maria was hungry to have an event of their own, like San Luis does, Santa Barbara does, and every other city in the world has.
Yeah.
We didn't have one, and Santa Maria wanted one. And now it's fast forward, we're going into our 4th year, and here's the best part of Downtown Fridays. I think there's 2 great things. Number one is we're in the center of downtown, which a lot of people mistakenly think is has a perception of it's a bad place.
Right.
It's dangerous. We have yet to have anything happen at Downtown Fridays.
I love it.
We've had, 80 events in the downtown now at night with beer, with wine, with music in close, tight quarters when there's 2,000 to 3,000 people on an average showing up and nothing happens.
Right.
I was a cop for 8 years. You just don't have that.
Right.
And the second part that I like, it's a bunch of families, and it represents the entire culture of our community, which means we have all the different colors coming out there.
Yeah.
And they're coming out as neighbors, and they're having a good time with each other.
It looks like it's Santa Maria. When's your first one start this year?
March 29th, so 4 weeks.
4 weeks, ready to go. And you already, I'm sure, been planning for a while.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Bands and all the booths and stuff.
Yes.
Can somebody give you a call if they want to get a hold of a booth?
Yes, but we're on the midnight hour of that with the booths. We're already shut down food-wise. We have 30 food booths. We're going to have a lot of changes this year. Some really exciting things that we're going to have out there as entertainment, some extra things. We've already scheduled all the bands that are coming out. We are working on some free entertainment, which would mean like school bands or marching bands or karate demonstrations, things like that we're working on to bring out, canine demonstrations, those types of things. But everything else is scheduled. We have SenCal, the wrestling group. They'll be out there twice. Full ring. Wow. The semi-professional wrestlers will come out and put on the full shows 2 times this year.
I love it.
The locks box, the mystery box where we lock you in and you have to figure out clues to get out, which you might be in there for a week.
No, you're not locking me in a box again.
I do have fantasized about that a little bit.
Thank you. So he goes from this to somehow you got talked into being part of the chamber, which is a whole nother level because, again, you're not a politics guy. That's a politics level situation. But again, you're following the same mold. You're giving yourself that cold shower. What feels uncomfortable, and I'm going to get in there and make a difference. How was that experience for you? If you can give that to us real quick.
The chamber was something I knew I always had to do only because it matches my passion, which is I want to help entrepreneurs. I want to work with entrepreneurs. I want to work with our city. But I do not want to be in politics whatsoever. But because that passion, that drive, that's that fire that's on the inside, it forces you to do things you're uncomfortable to do.
Right.
This is something that was uncomfortable for me to do, especially to be up in front of people like that. But that was something that puts me close to entrepreneurs and helps our community out. So it's something I knew that I had to do. And then there was people who were involved at the time, like the Donna Randolphs and Jim Brace of the world, Trent Benedetti's, who had talked to me also and encouraged me to get on the board and encouraged me to be on the leadership part of the chamber, which again, all those big, hairy, scary things, didn't like them, wanted to say no, but because it's something that you believe you're here for, you say yes. You make yourself uncomfortable.
They're long commitments. I mean, just the chamber alone.
It's a 9 year. Now we changed it to 6 years.
9 years.
Yeah, we did call it a prison sentence. Now it's not as bad. It's 6 years. 3 2-year commitments instead of 3 3-year commitments.
Wow. But I mean, I don't think people realize that when they see, oh, there's a chamber president. They don't realize, hey, they've given a before and after and will continue to do that. And now there's always been this underlining thread of you wanting to be out there being a motivational speaker. You have your podcast that people can listen to. And I'd like to have another show and have you come talk about that because I want to give it what it's worth. I think the motivational part of it, what drove you to drive others, and also what are the results? What are some things that people can do? So until then, where can they find out more about either your podcast or about you?
They can do a couple of things. You can the easiest way is just go to my website, which is edcarcarey.com. And so it's EDCAR again, EY.com. And you can, everything is cataloged. It's all free. I have podcasts and blogs there, hundreds of them. Or you can just reach out to me at LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, just Ed Carcarey. And then I launch it on LinkedIn each week. There's always a podcast that gets launched and a blog. Or listen to Mega on Sunday mornings at 8:30, and I do a 30-minute show where I go into depth on whatever the podcast was. It's a 3 to 4 minute podcast. Now I'm going to spend 30 minutes, and we're going to go into depth on that subject.
Amazing what you've done in town. I know so many people love to hear you speak because you make it entertaining, you make it fun. You know what you want to hear. You know what puts you to sleep. So I think that's a big part of it as well. I even had an older lady, one of the ladies that wear the white coats, and we were at an event one time and you were speaking, and I know I wanted to talk bad about you, but she wouldn't let me. And she says, and it reminded me when you were telling your name, she says, it's part of his name. And I said, what's part of his name? She goes, care. I'm like, oh my gosh, you people, he's got you snowed. Are you kidding me? Care's part of his name? But
okay,
you really do care about the community, and it is a big part of what you do, and it leads you to all of these things. So if you've never had a chance, please go check out his podcast. Please go check out his website. Make it part of your day. If you're going to do anything, make it part of your day. Institute it. Try it for like a month. Give it a shot and see the difference that you have. And if that makes a big difference to you, then you need to get to more things. Ed has seen many, many, many mentors. He's had many, many classes. He's been to trainings. I mean, I can't tell you the stuff that he's done. He's making it a little bit more simple for you. And this is somebody in our town that is doing this, that does not make this a part of their full living, but also is changing the city. So thank you for all that you do, and I appreciate it, and wish you a lot of luck. And I know that it's been a really good year for you, from the fact that I think you had a little reminder of how precious life is. But you're one of those guys where I think if something were to happen, you lived life to the fullest, and you feel good about saying goodbye to everybody if that were to happen. But I'm glad you're still around.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's always a nice thing. I wouldn't have anybody to fight with and to tease. So this has been Ed Carcarey. Again, give your website out again in their podcast.
Yes, it's edcarcarey.com, or you can hook up with me at LinkedIn or listen on Mega every Sunday morning at 8:30. And Tony, thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Fun.
And thanks for doing this each week.
After 20 years, we finally got to sit down and have a normal conversation. We almost didn't make fun of each other, and there was no violence yet. So, but I've kept a pretty good distance from you. If you've noticed, I didn't want to get hit.
I'll just start calling you Danny from now on. That's your new name.
All right, guys. Next week, we'll have another great guest coming your way. If you've noticed, we've made some changes. We're kind of making it a little bit more so that you're learning more about the people, what drives them to be who they are in this community, what makes this community great. If this is the kind of program you love, definitely keep listening. Listen to Ed's program on Sunday, and let others know that this is happening. We appreciate it. If you're listening on Facebook, please share this so that other people can get inspired just like you did. Thanks for checking us out on Mega Cares right here on Mega 97.1.